Hello and welcome to WePC. My name is Jay and today I'm going to be reviewing the XPG's Summoner RGB keyboard by Adata. This new keyboard has a choice of 3 Cherry MX switches, a bunch of RGB presets, a detachable wrist rest and a volume wheel. Whilst it does seem to come equipped with all the necessities a gaming keyboard needs, the Summoner also does have its downfalls. I will be putting the Summoner RGB keyboard through its paces to see how it stacks up and answer the burning question: is it worth your money? Firstly, looking at the design, as you can see, it does look pretty damn good. The sand-blasted aluminium top plate is the perfect blueprint for XPG's keycaps and RGB lighting. It gives the keyboard a premium feel that I definitely prefer over the more plastic found on many other branded keyboards. The XPG branding is fairly subtle, only really above the arrow keys, and it's presented in a metallic finish. The top plate does overlap the physical body of the keyboard, but I wouldn't mark this as a negative, just noticeable if you're a perfectionist. There's a volume wheel and mute button in the top right of the keyboard here, which is good, but honestly, I would like to have seen some other dedicated media keys too. The volume wheel has a nice tactile feel that is definitely beneficial, and I do find myself using it every day. However, the mute button just isn't so pleasing on the senses. It works perfectly fine, it just feels and sounds extremely basic. XPG decided to use secondary function media keys for the play and pause, back and forward controls, and they are found through the F10 to F12 buttons. This is fine, but I would have preferred dedicated media keys instead, like they've given us with the volume wheel and the mute button as we've previously mentioned. Also next to the volume wheel sits 3 indicator lights for game mode, caps and numlock. The wrist rest which comes with this keyboard is one of the standout features for me. It's easily attachable via a magnetic strip that clips onto the bottom of the keyboard like so. And it's very easy and feels moderately secure. In my opinion, this is better than other similarly priced alternatives. The cushion used for the wrist rest feels very well made. It's very comfortable and stable over an extended period of time. The rest does add a bit of width to the keyboard, just 88mm, but still keep that in mind if you are struggling for desk space. Looking now at the underside of the keyboard, there is very little design features. Just 2 retractable feet with 1 height setting but no stabilizing pads. However, at only 2.1 pounds in weight, it didn't slide around too much for me. There's also USB pass-throughs, which to be honest is more than most other keyboards at this price, and it is really useful for other peripherals or charging a mobile device. Overall, I would say that the design is really nice and ticks all the right boxes. The RGB works nicely with the keycaps, and the sandblasted aluminium gives it a high quality premium look. The functionality could be better, but it does have some unique features that most other similarly priced boards just won't have. Now, let's move on to the keyboard's features. Unlike other keyboards in the under $100 price bracket, the XPG comes with a choice of 3 high-performance Cherry MX switches. You can choose between Cherry MX Red, Speed, and Blue switches to change the feel and performance of the keyboard to how you like it. For me personally, I chose the gaming Red switches. They're much less audible and gave me quicker actuation. We'll do a quick sound test for you now. Next up, let's take a look at the RGB lighting. I did have very high hopes for this feature, but it didn't quite reach those expectations. It provides a number of different presets, which range from breathing to explosion and all the usual suspects in between. While these are pretty cool, customization is extremely limited for the most part. Unlike other RGB branded keyboards, Razer being a prime example, the XPG just doesn't come with any form of user software. Without user software, fine-tuning RGB lighting to your specific needs isn't really possible, so you're just kind of left with choosing between the presets that it offers. Ultimately, with no customization, it leaves a lot to be desired, especially when comparing to others in this price range. Moving on to anti-ghosting and key rollover, this technology ensures every key press is registered and sent to the computer, a feature designed for gamers who play titles that require complex commands using several key presses all at the same time. So, for example, a user can press 9 keys all at the same time, and every key press will be sent to their PC. The XPG Summoner offers NKRO, otherwise known as full key rollover, providing certain game genres with the button bashing requirements that they so need. Now that we've taken a look at the design and some of the main features that this keyboard comes equipped with, it's now time to take a closer look at how it performs in a real-world setting. We're going to be putting it through a series of games to see how it stacks up. After all, this is a gaming keyboard. And keep in mind that these findings are based on the Cherry MX Red switches that this board comes equipped with. Other iterations may offer a different performance output. The first thing I noticed about the Summoner was just how responsive these switches really were. Obviously, we're used to plenty of keyboards in the past that utilize Cherry MX Red switches, but it always feels nice going back to them after a while. Movements felt sharp, and the low actuation of the Cherry MX Reds mean I could react with lightning speeds. And that is exactly what you need when playing fast-paced titles. Despite no key rollover technology being a little overkill for the most part, I did manage to test out in a couple of unique titles, and it worked as expected, allowing me to press any number of keys at the same time with it always being registered by the game. And from a typing point of view, I thought the XPG Summoner was pretty good. Whilst it wasn't the most accurate I've ever used, it certainly offered up good speed when it was required. The only factor that felt a little weird was the spring's pushback force when lifting off from a key press. It wasn't off-putting, just very obvious during use. Overall, I actually really enjoyed using this keyboard for gaming purposes. The macros were easy to program, the RGB worked as it should, albeit a little bit limited, but the overall feel of the Summoner was that of high quality. So there you have it, our comprehensive breakdown of the XPG Summoner RGB keyboard by Adata. Despite the minor flaws that come with this keyboard, honestly I'd have to say I was pretty impressed with it overall. The construction was extremely good, and the gaming performance left little to be desired. On the downside, the RGB was extremely limited, and the board comes with no user software, which, to be honest, is a little strange in this day and age. Having said that, the RGB presets were adequate and programming macros were fairly straightforward. Further positives could also be found in the wrist rest, bringing heightened levels of comfort to your gaming experience. And overall, for under $100, this keyboard has quite a lot going for it. A choice of mechanical switches, aluminium top plate, USB pass-through, and a few other features to round things off. Honestly, I suppose it all comes down to what you personally prioritize. If you want good gaming performance with solid build quality, this keyboard is going to serve you quite well. However, if you're more interested in customization, flashy RGB, and those media keys, then you can definitely find better value elsewhere in the market. I hope you've enjoyed this review, and if you want more, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, give it a like, and let us know what you think in the comments below. I've been Jay, and I'll see you in the next one.